Hello friends, what you are seeing is a Django CRUD application. I have decided to make 4 videos. This is video number 1. Here I will show you how to insert data using Python Django into SQLite. So let's move to the program that will do this task. As you can see over here, I have a database of type SQLite 3 and there is a table called student app underscore stream. So as I click over here, you will find 3 records are been displayed. Student app is the name of the app and the model name is called stream. If I take you to the template and if I click on stream, you will find exactly these 3 records: IT, CSE and EC. That's what you can see over here. So how did I manage to insert these records? That's what is the content of this video. So let me first take you to the project. In the project, the urls.py, this is an empty route. So let's go and see what this particular function view is there. As you can see, I have the file view.py which I have created. Here I'm giving a call to the HTTP request and I'm passing a message in the form of string, and that is what I'm sending in the form of a context for this particular template called index.html. And that's the reason why you saw just now that as this particular message when we are at the home route, welcome to Django CRUD application. Is that what you saw? So let me just take you to index.html once. So let's come to the template. Let's come to index.html. Here we have gone for the CDN link of the jQuery because we are going to involve AJAX for the purpose of sending data from front end to back end. I have written a couple of custom JavaScript code, and for that reason I have given a call to those. As you can see inside the static, I have got a couple of files, but in this video I will be working on this particular file called script.js. This is a CDN link for Bootstrap and this CDN link for Bootstrap JavaScript. As you saw over here, that it is going to send a context, and for that reason the ginger template tag must receive the context over here, and that's what I'm doing. Remember, we are working on JavaScript, so for that reason ginger template tag must also have the load tag, and that's all for this particular template. Here we have got the navbar inclusion. So let me take you navbar to see how this particular navbar has been shown. So let's come to the file called navbar.html. Right over here you can see there are a total 3 routes are there: underscore home, stream list and subject list, and that's the reason why you saw these routes. And this particular code has been taken from getbootstrap.com. so you will get this file, this particular code right over there. So now we will see the urls.py which you have already seen over here, and that's just only in context to the project view.py. Now let's move on to the real part of the story. So let me close all the files. Okay, and before I get into it, let me show you the settings as well. So you can see over here I'm using static, so for that reason these 2 configurations required, you know very well. And I'm going to use a default database, that is SQLite. Okay, and the template has already been associated right over here. So these are some changes you need to make, and for that reason you have to include the OS package. Now we are ready to move to the portion of insert query. So what is there inside this particular app? Well, by mistake I have given the app name as student app. Rather, it would have been good if I would have given the app name as stream app. So when you will be creating this particular application, I would suggest you don't give the name as stream app, because this is reflecting don't give the name as student app, rather give the name as stream app, because it is reflecting primarily the stream functionalities of any college. You can think like that. So instead of giving student app, go for stream app. That would be more meaningful. And one more thing is that we know very well that whenever you are creating an app, you have to associate those apps inside the install app of settings.py. So make sure you do this, otherwise there will be an issue. So how did I what is the meaning of this line? So if you see over here, this is the name of the folder that is called student app. Inside that is a file called apps. So let me expand that. We have a file called apps, and inside that we have a class called student app config. So if I double click on this file, you will find this is the class name that is given. So as I said, don't go with the name called student app. Preferably it would be stream app. Okay, that will be more meaningful. Okay, so far so good. So let's come to my urls.py. So once the user will click on the nav bar, as you can see over here, as I click on the nav bar, you will end up with this particular extra endpoint that is called /stream/. So that means /stream/ is coming from the project urls.py. As you can see over here, stream/ is coming from there. So once you hit that, you will end up with the empty route, which you can see right over here, but this route is related with the display part. Okay, this is related with the display part. So I'm not going to display part right now, but my focus would be to add data. But still I will explore you through the function based view what is written over here. And let me click on this. So we'll end up to this particular view page where we have got exactly 4 functionalities, because that's what CRUD operation is: create, retrieve, update and delete. We will go through all these individually, no worries. Before we start exploring this function based view, I will take you to template and to student app template page, so that you can see how this particular template looks like actually. So here it goes. So I double click on this particular page, and here we come. So this is what your stream template page looks like. We all know very well that when you are going to take the input from the user for storing data in the database, what you should do actually, well, you should make use of the form tag, and that's what I have done. So this particular segment is related with the data inclusion from GUI mode, passing it to the backend. And then we will have one extra div tag, which is an empty, which would convey, in case if you have to convey some message, you will be using this particular div tag. And this is the table segment where you are going to display the data, like what you can see right over here. So this entire thing is going to be displayed over here through this particular table tag. So you can see that in this particular template I have got primarily 3 parts. The first part is the form that is responsible for taking input from the user. Second part is an empty div tag, which will show a message in case if you want to display something, and there is a segment which is the HTML table, which will be responsible to show the data that user has already entered. Or you can think in this way, that the data that is there inside the database table, that's what you are going to show it. So in this particular video, as we are focusing primarily on the insertion part, the create part of the CRUD operation, so let's give a look on this portion. We all know that we have to make use of CSRF token so that it provides the validity, and this is going to come from Django. So that means if I come to this particular page, if I go and right click over here, go to the view page source, I would be able to see the CSRF token that has been generated by Django. So this is very important. Okay, now so let me minimize this. Now I have got if you look over here, I have got one DOM which is of type hidden. Now you might be wondering why this DOM is there. Well, this DOM will not be visible because it's hidden, and it is primarily used for the purpose of updating a record. That will be clear to you in the upcoming videos. So for the time being, I will tell you that you put this particular DOM, but as of data insertion is concerned, this particular DOM will be of no use. But still, you add this particular DOM, because in next video, upcoming videos, we will go for the data updation part. We have a DOM by the name called stream name, where the user is going to give the stream name, as you can see right over here. Along with that, we have a description and a button. So this is the stream DOM for stream name, this is the text area DOM for stream description, and we have a DOM in the form of button, and that is going to perform the submit operation. That means when the user will fill a data over here, so right now suppose I'm going from mechanical and over here if I write this is very important domain, and once I click on the submit button, I mean add button, this entire record should do what? I mean, what should be the action that is going to be performed by JavaScript? And JavaScript is going to perform the submit. What are you submitting? You're submitting this whole form. And to whom you're submitting? Well, you're submitting it to JavaScript. So how JavaScript is getting involved? Well, over here you see I have given one ID for this particular button. So the moment you click on this button, the invocation of this ID takes place. Okay, that's great. And this will happen through the help of JavaScript jQuery. So let me come to the static. Over here we have a file called script.js. Let me open this, and here we come. Okay, let me close these things, and here it goes. We have got three functionalities over here. This is the function which responds for insertion. This is for edit, this is for delete. So these are the content of my upcoming videos. Right now I'm going to focus on this. So as you can see over here, this is the ready function, and we know very well that when the template gets loaded in the browser, immediately the jQuery ready function gets executed. Well, let's get and check it out. So if I right click on this, go to the inspect, and if you come to the console, you will find this particular line is already mentioned. We are using jQuery. So that means immediately when the page got loaded, this particular statement will get fired, or better to say, jQuery ready function get fired. Now it will wait to execute this function because it is based on button click. So unless and until the user did not click the button, this particular function will not be invoked. So now imagine user fill the data like what I did over here, and I'm going to click on this add button. Now once I do that, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to give a call to this particular button DOM. So the control will come right over here, and look, we are tracking this button with the help of ID, that is hash. So be very careful about this. So you write over your ID attribute, and that's the reason why you have given over here the hash symbol. So the click function has got one anonymous function, and the anonymous function has got one argument called event. We know very well that the AJAX will allow us not to load the page, rather it will go for a partial loading, and for that reason it will prevent the default behavior of loading the whole page. Fine. Okay, great. So inside this JavaScript jQuery function, we will write the AJAX code. But before we start the AJAX, the first thing first would be accept all the input that is present in this particular DOM page. So as we saw over here, I have given the stream name, I have given the description. So these two things are there, but along with that, couple of more things you have to take. One is the CSRF token, that what you have to take it. You have to take the CSRF token. And as I created one hidden DOM element, that also you have to take. But I already said this hidden DOM element will not be important in case of insertion. But still, as a good practice, you take this particular data. Okay, great. So that's the reason why I have taken over here for statement. So I'm collecting the ID. Well, this will not be there initially. Again, I'm telling this will come in picture when we perform the edit operation. Let this field be blank, no issue. We have got the stream name, that what given by the user right over here, and we have the description. These two things we will store inside the respective variables. And this is the way we capture the CSRF middleware token. Remember, when you are giving a call to the backend, CSRF token must be forwarded from frontend to backend. That means this particular token that got generated should be forwarded to the backend, so that it ensure that this particular template, whatever input you have given, is coming from the right user. So for that reason, this particular statement becomes a very important part. Okay, great. So once we have captured all the input, now we are good to expand our AJAX part. We know very well that AJAX leads to asynchronous communication, and for that reason this piece of code will be broken in two segments, where the first segment will comprise of these three attributes: URL, method, and data. And after we have completed the backend part, when the response will come back to AJAX again, then either the success key will work or the error will work, any one out of these two. Okay, So now let's see how this particular three parameters or three keys are going to work. Well, what I have done in my application is that I will be using this particular template to perform both insertion as well as editing. I will not redirect to any other template. So when I will be clicking on these button, I will stay back in the same template and these data will get filled automatically in this particular page. Well, I'm sure you would love to see that. Okay, let me show you once. I hit the page so that it gets reloaded. And now suppose I want to perform an edit operation. I will simply go and click on any of this. So let's consider I want to edit the computer science. So I will click on this and immediately these information get filled over here directly. So I'm still in the same route. My route did not get changed. Again, I'm showing, please take a minute note over here. I'm in the route called stream name. That means when I will be performing insert operation, I will be still in this particular route. Similarly, when I will go for edit, I will be still in that particular route. So that means I am not using two different templates for performing two different operations. Rather, one template is used both for insertion as well as for updation. So for that reason, it becomes very important to tell AJAX that which route are you going to give a call. Is it for the edit or is it for the insertion? And how do you decide that? Well, you decide this with the help of this particular data. That means right now when I'm performing insertion operation at this point of time, naturally this particular value in this variable will be blank. So when I come over here we are going for a ternary operation or a conditional operation, that if this variable contain a value, then this part will be true, otherwise this part is going to be false. Please take a note, I've used over here a backtick operator. So currently when I'm performing insertion operation at that point of time, this is not going to work because this variable does not have any value. So here the route would be stream_add. So that's how we decide whether to go with the edit or insertion. Fine. Our method is going to be post because our template which we have is the type post. See, we don't want the data to be shown in the URL. And all the input which I have taken over here, I'm storing them in the form of an object, and that is what the purpose of the data key. So you see over here I have given the same name for the key as well as the variable just to avoid any kind of confusion, and I believe this is a good practice. So you just take the variable name, pass it as a key as well as a value, and this way you can do this and it will help a lot for making any kind of wrong keys, because later on you have to accept this in the backend. So now we move to the backend. So after we have completed all these three, the control will directly jump to this particular route /stream/app. Remember, the /stream is coming from the project urls.py. So if you go over here, you have a project URL called /stream, and extra added query part, that is the route part rather, the add is coming from the app urls.py. So you come to the app, you come over here, and urls.py, you can see there's an add route is there. So this will redirect me to this particular function based view. Okay, so far so good. Now let's focus on this. So we have already passed 4 parameters and I need to receive those parameters one by one, and that's what I'm going to do over here. So inside my stream app I'm going to receive these parameters, but wait a second. The stream app which I've written over here, the function which I've written here over here, has got what? Has got a request method post. Do you think it's going to work? Of course it will be working, because user after filling the data will click on the add button. So when the add button is clicked, so that means you have given a call to the post request. And in fact your AJAX was also referring to the method as post, hence the if condition is actually going to work. So what the if condition is going to do? Well, the if condition is going to receive the data. Now you are going to receive these data, the data which you have passed: stream ID, stream name, description, middleware. The middleware token, you don't need to do anything, you just need to forward it. Rest it will happen by, it will be taken care by Django. You didn't need to involve this in your insertion operation, insertion function. You don't need to do it anything, you just pass it, that will be enough. So I have an stream ID, I don't have any value. For that reason I didn't receive the stream ID over here. So basically I'm going to receive 2 parameters, that is stream name and stream description, and see over here I'm receiving that. So when you're receiving the stream name or description, there are basically two ways that you can write it, and this is a very important interview question. The one which I am following is that request.post within third bracket, look at it in the form of a matrix. I'm writing the name of the key which I have given. Here it is. The other approach which you can follow is in this way: request.POST.get, you write the name of the key. This approach is also correct. So what is the basic difference? Ideally, you should use this particular approach rather using this one. Why is so? The reason is, suppose in case this particular key name which I have written over here, by mistake I wrote something, so there is a mismatch. In that case, Django app will not crash, rather it will return none. So that's a good practice, isn't it? But if you do it in this way, what happens is that if this particular key does not matches with this one, immediately the app will get crash and you will receive some unwanted error message. So as a healthy practice, try to avoid this one. Then you might be thinking, why did I write this? Well, just to take you that if you do this mistake, this thing is going to happen. Okay, so when you will be doing it, preferably you can do this. If you want to do a small experiment, then you try out this one, not an issue. Okay, so there are two approaches which you can follow. Same thing I did for the description as well. So now these are inside my variables of the Python. They are all string type. Of course, user has sent some data. That's the reason this if condition is going to be true. In case it was empty, then I will return a JSON response back to the front end, that is AJAX. Well, of course, user will give the data, so there's no point of thinking about this one right now. So let's explore with the if part. So data is already there. Now, one scenario can happen. What is that? The data which you have given, the stream name which you have given, might already be there. What about that? Let's see. What if I write CSE? Well, CSE is already there, right? For students, description can be different, doesn't matter, but what matters is the stream name, because that's the primary key. Well, how do I know this is a primary key? Well, that brings us to the model, which I didn't show yet. So let's come to the model, and you can see over here that this model here I've got name, description, and created ad. Although primary key is not there right now, the auto generated, well, I did not write this because every time you insert a new record, Django will automatically insert one ID, and you can see that. You can see even right over here, if I go to my database table, stream name, see over here the ID comes automatically. Well, you might be thinking 789, what about rest 1 to 6? Well, I was doing some trial and error. For those reasons, those record I have deleted. Okay, fine. So this is going to be the auto generated, and this is going to be the primary key. Although I did not write primary key, but I wrote unique. So this particular flag will ensure that the record which you are writing should be unique, and for that reason why I did a small verification over here. Okay, before I get into this part, always remember, after you have done the model, you have to follow two steps. One is called Python manage.py make migrations, so that it will create a file by the name called 0001.initial, and then you have to go for migrate, Python manage.py migrate. Once you do that, whatever statement that is there inside this file will finally transform that into a database table, and thereafter you will be seeing that inside the SQLite right over here in this form. So don't forget to do these two steps: Python manage.py make migrations followed by Python manage.py migrate. Okay, that is great. Well, I have taken over here the attribute called creator add, which is basically auto generated. So for that reason, I don't need to take any input from the user, rather automatically it will be taken and it will be stored inside the model, like what you saw over here. See, it is coming over here. Okay, so far so good. So since I have said the stream name is going to be unique, so for that reason what I'm doing is that I want to verify that actually the name which I'm giving, does that already exist. Well, like what I was trying out over here, that is CSE is already there. So when I will click on this add button, what I will be expecting, see a message called stream already exists. And how that message came, well, let's explore that part. So stream name is already there. I've given the input, right? But now I need to perform that it is there already or not. And that brings us to Django ORM, object relational mapping, because we are not going to write regular SQL like select star from table name where attribute is there. This kind of SQL we are not going to write, rather we are going to involve Django ORM. So stream.object of filter is going to perform a where condition to check whether the input which I have given, that is inside this variable, does matches with this particular attribute called name. So what is name? Well, name is the attribute that is there in the model, as you can see right over here. So it's just doing a comparison. And in this case, which I did over here, the comparison turned out to be true. So once the comparison is true, how do I get the Boolean value? That is exist function. Give a call to exist, it will return true. So when it returns true, and then if condition fails, if condition doesn't work over here, rather it comes to the else part and it sends a JSON response. See, it's form of a key value up here, it's sending a response. This message, this is in the form of dictionary, and the status is 400 because the inclusion did not take place, right? So this message will now be forwarded to whom? JsonResponse will forward this message. Don't forget to AJAX, because we are giving a call to AJAX, and AJAX has got two parts. So here is the first part and here is the second part. Okay, so since the message came in the form of an error in the form of 400, so it will come to the JSON part over here in the error key, and what message you have written over here, you wrote the message over here. See, this is a key called message. So that's the reason why we are extracting that. We are checking in case if the message is not there, then this will be the substitute, but in our case message is there. So the error will have an extra parameter called response JSON, which can be blank. For that reason this question mark is there, and it can be blank because of that reason I've written this particular key. And inside this I have a value called message, as you can see right over here. So that what I'm extracting, I'm putting it inside a new variable, and I already have a div tag. If you remember in my template, the empty div tag I have got, this is the reason why I kept this div tag, so that I can show the message. So within the help of .text function, I'm showing the message. It was in red color and it stood there for a 2000 millisecond, that means for 2 seconds, and thereafter the message got off. Well, if you want to try out once again, you can do that. As I click on this, you see the stream already exists. This stays for 2 seconds and it gets disappeared. Isn't it good enough? Got it? So that's what is going to happen in case if that particular stream already exists. But what will happen in case if it is not there? Well, in that case you will save the data directly in the table. So there are two methods of saving data in the table. The one which I am following over here is basically one step operation. So again I'm giving a call to the ORM. So see, these are different ORM which you must keep in record. So stream.object.create is one ORM, stream.object.filter is another, and here I'm passing the respective key value pair. So remember, the name is one of the model attribute, name is a model attribute, description is a model attribute, created at will be auto-generated, no need to take input from the user, and these are the respective variables. So name is mapped with stream map, description is mapped with stream description, and that's how this one step line will execute the object, and then it will insert that into the database table. So create and save both happen in one step. Well, there can be an alternative. So if you don't want to go with this one, you can go with this one as well. This is an alternative. What you do, you create an object of this particular model class. So stream names the object, which I have done over here in one line, but you're creating the object first, and then you're giving a call to the save function, which will pass the object as a tuple inside the table. So it's a two-step process. First you create the object and then save the object. So this is also an interview question. Please take a note of this. Now after I've inserted the record in the table, I want to retrieve the record back, because I want to show you, and this is going to be the content of my next video, that how exactly this play is happening. So again I'm giving a call to another ORM. So see over here, good number of ORM are getting invoked one by one. So this ORM is all, it's like select star from table name. So it is extracting all the record that is there in the model, and I'm storing it in the form of a query set. This is a very important line. Please take a note of this. When you are giving a call to this ORM all, it will extract the data from the model and it will store it in the form of query set. So this is a representation of query set, because your data is a form of a table, okay, because you have collected the data right from here. So this is the data that you are retrieving. So this is exactly what a query set is all about, and query set is a Python data type. Now I want to forward this data in the front end, isn't it? Okay, let me save a new data, then you will understand. So as I was going with mechanical, this is a great domain. So now when I will save this data, when I will save this data, I want this particular record should also appear over here. Let me click on this. record saved successfully, and see over here the thing comes right over here. So that means this appeared over here. So for making this appear in the table, in the template, I have to extract the data, and for that reason we are giving a call to the ORM, the query set. But the problem over here is that it is a Django data type or Python data type. This will not be directly understandable by HTML, and for that reason Django provides a very wonderful function called renders to string. This function where we have to invoke. Let me tell you what this particular function is doing. Well, it will go through each tuple from the table. So this is my table, and these are the tuples. 4 tuples are right now. It will go through each tuples, and then it will convert these tuples into HTML table. Okay, so finally I have to display the data in the form of table, right? You can see over HTML table is there, and if you remember that I also have got the table in my template. See over here I have the template. So this is my template, so I have a table over here. So that means what render to string function is going to do is that it will pick up one row at a time, and it will convert these as table row, which comprise of table data as well. Okay, like what you can see over here, table row is there, the table row comprises of table data. So it's going to convert each of this into table row, and then it will create, that means there are 4 table row, and then what it has to create, all those 4 table rows will be put together into one string. Yes, you rightly heard, it will be converted to string. So there is total 3 steps are involved: jQuery, Python Django jQuery QuerySet that will be converted to HTML. All the 4 tuples or n number of tuples of HTML will then be converted into one single string, and that string is what we are passing in the form of a context to this particular template. So that means this particular template is going to receive that context, and for doing that we are making it call to the render to HTML. So finally this is actually a string variable. So this string variable I am sending right to JsonResponse, because we have to get back to AJAX. So remember over here this parameter is basically in the form of a string. I'm sending a message, the stream added successfully, and this status is 200. Hence this is going to work on the success block of jQuery. So let's move to the jQuery. So jQuery comes over here, and now we are in the success block because status is 200, and the data which I have sent, this particular data which I have sent, which is basically a string, will now be stored over here. Okay, before I move forward, what I did is that I just removed those data which I have given, and I have changed the button caption to add. Well, although it was an add, but imagine previously you did update, then that will be update. So you need to change the update to add. So for that reason we have changed the caption of the button. And as I said, there was an empty div tag which we already saw over here, so that's where the message will be shown. And for that reason the response message, the message which I have sent over here, that has stream added successfully, that will be shown, and that has been shown in the green color, and that stood over there for 3 seconds. And then we have created one empty div tag. Okay, this empty div tag was done, and then we have created one table block. So if you come over here, I said that this template comprises of 3 blocks: the form part, the empty div tag, and there is a table. There is a table over here. See, there is a table body over here. So this is a table, and the table contains a body, and the ID of that body is stream list. And here where the data is going to be rendered, and this is what the content of my next video going to be. So once you are passing this but will be received right over here, and this is my div tag which you can see over here. I have just targeted this particular div, and .html will do what? You remember you were sending from here in the form of a string. So .html will receive that string, and then it will again go for reverse process. That means the string will be extracted to, or string will be we are doing the typecasting, you can say. So the string will be typecasted to HTML so that we get those table rows, and finally those table rows will be rendered over here one by one. As you can see, this is a table tag, so we have to extract this. So in my next video we are going to talk about how exactly this extraction process is happening. This is also a great video will be, so make sure you go through this video properly because this step is very important. So before we bind up, one more time I tell you, you are receiving a jQuery data which is in the form of Python. You have to convert this jQuery into HTML first, and then that whole HTML, that means all these rows will be converted to table rows, and finally all those 4 rows will be converted into one string, and that string is what you are forwarding to your AJAX. So AJAX receive that string over here, and with the help of HTML, AJAX will go for decryption. It will convert the HTML back to it will convert the string back to HTML so that it can be rendered inside your HTML page, so that it can be rendered right over here. Got it? So that's how exactly the data insertion takes place in our database, and I'm very sure if you just go through this video a couple of times, definitely it will be helpful. In my next video I will be focusing primarily how this particular display is happening. Right over here we can see the display, how exactly it's working, and then we will be able to follow edit and delete button as well. So that's all from this particular video. Take care, stay tuned, bye bye.